All right. Cheers and salutations. Welcome to Hardland Media. We're going to have ourselves a Super Friday show. Plus, there's going to be some stories that are not in the show notes as well. But if we're going to start off a Freaky Friday show, that's right, it's a Super Hardlands Media episode. We're going to do it right because, listen, this whole week I've been having awesome guests. Caleb Maupin, Nico House. We had Nick Cruz. I mean, my goodness gracious, people, it is not stopping 24/7. Just what is ongoing? What is going on? Give it up for now, Indy from INN News.
Who are these people?
Who are these people?
Hey,
well,
what's
hey,
up,
man.
Indy?
good to see you. I'm glad to be back. Hi, Hardlands fam. Love everybody.
Dude.
Oh man. You have been on fire this week. I saw that Nico interview. People have been saying your interview with Nick was very good. It was very good. Very good.
Yeah, shout out to Nick, shout out to Nico, shout out to Caleb. We've had a couple other people. I'm getting secondhand Joe mention now. I'm getting a couple emails. I'm getting a lot of projects being sent to me, and it's a miracle I'm standing on two legs. I got a message from Daniel just the other day. It's like, hey, dude, you need to maybe take a day off here and there. I was like, I got the weekend for a day off, occasionally, but I love doing this job. I love doing this show, and I love, doing independent media and content creation. But there's something I don't love, Indy. You want to know what it is?
It's definitely not Chicago pizza because I know you have love for that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I despise censorship. So, I had Nick Cruz from RBN on our show, and he talked about what happened to Al Jazeera and RBN. Now, RBN's been hit hard with shadow banning and demonetization and censorship. And look, Hardlands Media at this point, hey, everybody, boost up your numbers. That's right, all independent media. Hardlands Media is declaring war on y'all. Try and catch up to us because we're the 9-time heavyweight champion. But Indy, you and your network have also been hit. So I want to give the platform for you to at least explain to my audience what happened, what's going on. I mean, obviously, there's some things that you cannot say, and I kind of know a little bit of some stuff here, but can you just give us a breakdown and what we can do as an audience, as a network to help you guys out? Because you guys helped us out.
And I really appreciate the platform, and hello to everyone that I normally hang out with. I'm normally in chat, and it's just always fun to come out and be on the show, and appreciate everything that Hardlands does for INN and for independent media and amplify voices that are being censored. This one is pretty weird. A lot of channels use Al Jazeera footage. They use Al Jazeera articles, and they cite Al Jazeera. We have done it on occasion in the past, not very often. Reef was doing an INN News with Colin a couple of weeks ago where they were showing the bombing in Kiev with the Children's Hospital, which was terrible. And they wanted to show the difference in the reaction in the media and also in the reaction of the people around in the immediate aftermath, because they had footage from each, and Al Jazeera was the one with the footage. So they showed it and did not take away the marking, the logo, and we properly credited them and did all the things that you're supposed to do. But they then put in a copyright claim and a takedown request, and we get plenty of copyright claims that basically share revenue. That's not really that big a deal.
That happens.
We're not even But we're not even a monetized channel. So literally it impacts us zero. It just means that there's revenue that would go to the other creator, which we're fine with. I mean, really, honestly, I'd rather somebody get some money rather than just YouTube. And then we had, so I put out a tweet out last week about it, and somebody reached out and said that they would reach out, that they're an international media copyright expert. Okay, great. Well, their response to me, at least I have not heard directly from Al Jazeera. We did put in a request through an email, and they never responded. But this person who had communicated with them allegedly said that it's an exclusive video. They were having a hard time convincing Al Jazeera to lift the takedown request. Now, what the takedown request means is that, A, YouTube takes it down from our channel. It does not exist anymore.
Right.
But B, we get a content strike for each one of these takedown requests. Now, what's really strange is that they got an alert. This didn't happen because they saw it. This happened because YouTube's copyright system alerted them that somebody was using their video. Now, they alerted them. What's really weird is YouTube alerted them as soon as it hit studio. We had not even published one of the videos yet. It had never been public. The second that it was uploaded to our studio account, YouTube then apparently sent a notification to Al Jazeera that it could potentially be used. And that's when Al Jazeera put the claim in on both the clip, which had been unpublished, and the live stream, which had already been published.
Wow.
And that gave us 2 strikes. Now, the way YouTube works is if you get three strikes on your channel, they terminate your channel.
Right. Can I add a little thing into that? So I don't mean to cut you off, because that's what happened to us in late December of 2023, January. Well, basically by January. So we got hit with that. And time was of the essence, and you have at least maybe 14 days to put a halt on that quickly before the final axe comes chopping down. And it's not a fun moment, folks. So Indy, carry on. I don't mean to just cut you off here, but I just wanted to clarify, folks. It is nail biting, and no content creator should be going through something like that.
Yeah. There's not much we can do at this point. We just have to be cognizant of what we show. Thankfully, we have alternate platforms like Rockfin and Rumble and Kick and Odyssey as a backup. We stream to Twitter. I've even tried we stream to Telegram. I've tried streaming to Instagram, though I don't really see very many people showing up on Instagram so far for INN. We're trying different places. I don't want to stream to Facebook. Facebook is even worse than YouTube with the copyright stuff.
Don't even do that with Facebook. Let me just give you all some inside baseball. Early Hardlands Media, we were on Facebook until eventually, I think Daniel, I think early 2019 said, hey, we're not streaming on Facebook. It's pointless, because anytime we did original content, nothing. Post authoritative content gets views. Any live streams we did or any special videos, it got boosted. The only way we got views on it is if we spent money for it to get boosted, and then that's it. Nothing else. Facebook is not a good investment for a content creator.
Yeah. No, not at all. So what's funny is that you have to invest. That's what they want. They want you to spend your ad dollars and buy placement on the platform. And if you don't do that, you're just buried and you're in the middle of nowhere. So, and then on top of that, they throw in copyright claims like crazy on you, automated, that the holder never even sees or knows about, but they say that it was copyrighted somewhere else, and they decide to take down your video, which has happened multiple times. It happens very often. You do the morning dump. We do boats smashing into other boats every Sunday night at midnight, 12:30 after we do How Do We Miss That? And very often, we actually used to do that at the end of How Do We Miss That? And we got claimed so often that I decided to make it a separate show so that the news show never got the claims. And guess what? Ever since then, I don't think How Do We Miss That's had one copyright claim.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
they don't like React content, for sure. YouTube doesn't like React content. But yeah, the thing with Al Jazeera is really silly. We don't understand. Like, look, it's news content, and yes, it's their exclusive right, and it's their video. If they reinstate us, I have offered, and we will take down the video. We understand that it's their exclusive video, and they don't want it being shown. Okay, we're sorry. We had no way of knowing that it was an Al Jazeera exclusive that no one was allowed to show copyrighted, because other news channels have let us show plenty of stuff. Now there are other ones that don't. Glenn Greenwald, for example, and Rumble will claim you the minute that you show some of their material. Okay, Netflix is notorious for it, and we've had issues in the past with Netflix where they will literally cut your stream off midstream until you stop showing Netflix. It's that bad. All right, we've seen all this stuff. Why? You know what? Lady Alex M asked the question: why can't we abandon YouTube? Because that's where the viewers are. Because that's where you are.
Yeah,
I wish.
Yeah, look, folks. As much as I like promoting Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, and Kick, they still have a long way to go to be on par with what YouTube is, which is why I do encourage all of you to please follow all of your favorite content creators and independent media on these alternative platforms. It is an uphill fight. And look, Indy, anything we can do to retweet, share, post on social media, I want to do that for you guys, so that way you guys are that way we at least still keep this fight ongoing. But I think just for everyone's calmness, so that people can be calm about this, you guys aren't set to be terminated. I mean, are you guys still safe? Are you okay?
Well, right now we're able to stream. They didn't they didn't remove our ability to do that. We are just on thin ice. Okay. So if anything from any of the 8 shows, 10 shows a week that we put up has anything that anybody wants to copyright claim, so we can only now show material that we really know that we own or that is in the public domain. But even if somebody decides to claim it, YouTube can term our channel instantly. Wow. Now, we're already demonetized, remember, because we said something just after October 7th that they did not like, and they took away our monetization ability. Then they gave us a content strike at that point. They accused us of supporting terrorism. Hilarious, by challenging a narrative. And yeah, so we've, it would almost be a blessing to have to start over. I mean, I don't want to have to start over as a new channel for INN. But how quickly could we grow that one back and get it monetized? I don't know. I don't really want to find out.
Well, you got I don't want to have to violate to back you up. You got Hardland's media to back you up.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't want to violate what YouTube, is requiring people to do. They don't want you to have multiple monetized channels for the same entity. So, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to play by their rules, but we'll see.
All right. I understand. All right. So thank you at least for breaking that down for us and at least getting us to understand just what is going on and the precarious situation that not only you are in, but so is RBN as well. So Al Jazeera, listen. An accident happened. That's why pencils have erasers. Let's all just get along. But speaking of getting along, how do you feel about Kamala Harris, Indy?
Oh, she's great. Come on, guys. Aren't we all on Team Coconuts?
Well, not according to this article.
We just fell out the coconut. I think we just fell out the coconut tree.
Well, what is this? Because this fell out the coconut tree on the first day of August of 2024. So we're all just going to go along, huh? The media is manufacturing consent with the party for Kamala Harris to be one of the leading candidates for president. And no one's going to try and stop it. Don't you get it? It's her turn. It's her turn.
Right.
So what's happening, man? What's
all right.
Why? What possessed you to write this article? You.
A late night rant. I was hanging out with one of our buddies, Oz the Boomer from Beauty and the Boomer over on Roar Media. If you haven't followed them, they're on Rockfin too on Roar Media. They're live on Saturday nights at 10 o'clock. Shanda's live. Shanda's been on the show quite a bit. So I was hanging out with Oz, and we were just talking about, the whole. I can't believe people are focused on the horse race, but I could not believe that the shit libs that are now, voter shaming people into getting on board with Kamala Harris is a comedy of errors. Because holy crap, who voted for her exactly? Like to be their nominee, and now
wasn't me.
Well, it wasn't anybody. That's the point, and it's just laughable when you start breaking down exactly how it went down and what happened. Holy moly. And we talked about this last night. We went through this article in full on Politically Homeless last night. Shout out to my brother Snow Himbo. He's in chat. He and I, it's kind of funny. And part of it, honestly, the inspiration for writing this was, I'm coming on Hardlands on Friday. What the hell am I going to talk about? So I said, well, Kit and his audience, Kit tends to focus on the horse race. He's got Chicago coming up. He's got the DNC.
Yep.
I think we need to throw a little bit of a none of the above kind of atmosphere into this duopoly shit show. All right. And remind people, this entire thing is orchestrated, structured, controlled. And let's start by saying, and I said at the end, nothing will fundamentally change. It does not matter who wins the election in November. Israel is still going to be bombing Gaza. We're still going to be ramping up and spending more money in Ukraine thanks to Joe Biden committing the money. A lot of things are not going to fundamentally change. And the things that will, if Kamala or whoever is the DNC nominee that ends up across the finish line wins, or Trump ends up winning if they don't put him in jail, which I don't think they're going to at this point. But
no,
you never know. I mean, literally, like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing that this kind of instability exists in this country in 2024, with all of the amount of control that's happening at the top levels by the corporate people, the Bilderberg and the WEF people, and all the people that are orchestrating and trying to make things go the way that it's supposed to, quote unquote, go. As chaotic as things are, as unsure as people think they are right now. Well, this is what kind of got in my head, and I was like, this is crazy. So again, I'm fiercely anti-duopoly. So I stepped outside this entire bubble, and I'm like, this is all right. You've got 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks now until a convention, right? And this guy dropped out. One person, I remember I heard Nancy Pelosi say there should be an open, you should have an open convention where people should kind of compete for the nomination. Right. And that's what I remember happening in 1968. Somewhat. There were multiple rounds of voting. And that at least put it in the hands of somewhat of the people's representatives, even though I think it was delegates then. And now you've got super delegates. And the whole thing is just controlled. They are going to pick whoever they want. And now we know from the 2016 Beck lawsuit, okay, again, on behalf of Bernie Sanders against the DNC, they've said they can basically go into a smoke-filled room, pick their candidate, come out, and you're going to have to deal with it. And guess what? That just happened. All right?
Yeah.
That just happened.
Well,
go ahead, kid.
Because actually going through this article, first of all, dumb, uninformed, and think they're above it all. The elected officials are desperate to mask just how vapid, shallow, and yes, dumb they truly are about what is really happening in the world today. I wouldn't say that they know, they just don't they don't care. No. And by them not caring, they'll actually do stupid things and think that they're helping.
No, I disagree.
Oh, really?
I disagree, kid. And let me explain why. All right. Think about Bernie Sanders and the media he consumes, the people who are around him, and the narrative that he's being told. First, does he even watch independent media, the Gray Zone, or any opposition media whatsoever? No, he's completely wrapped in this bubble where we're doing awesome in Ukraine and winning, and the Russians are demonized, and Putin is Hitler, right? And Israel, yeah, it's a tough situation, but what are you gonna do because they were attacked, And there was rape? No, there wasn't, except from Israeli soldiers. Okay, and there were babies beheaded? No, there was one baby that died via crossfire, and it's all documented. All these atrocity porn that they keep running around with, all these narratives. He sat and he watched that stupid Sheryl Sandberg atrocity nonsense, fictional propaganda. It's gross what these people are steeped in. And then they turn around and tell us that we don't know what's happening in the world. It's literally a gaslight when they are protected by a bubble. Now, they watch MSNBC and CNN that lie to them. They get briefed by intel agencies that lie to them, all right, and believe it as the gospel because they fund it. And then they get told, they go home and they watch corporate media, which lies to them on behalf of their advertisers and the military-industrial complex. So, wow. No, I really don't think that Bernie has any fucking clue what's going on in this world. Like, really. Steeped in absolute privilege. Does he drive anywhere anymore? Does he go to a supermarket and buy groceries or eggs? Really have any idea that a dozen eggs costs $7? No idea.
Jeez, I remember when eggs used to be cheap. I remember when gas used to be cheap. But goddamn it, okay. So obviously this has been festering inside you for quite some time. The fury of overall what's going to be happening here in Chicago. And look, I've been talking about Chicago and the increased security. I really feel sorry for the residents by the United Center. I mean, McCormick Place has I think more or less, yeah, there aren't a lot of residential areas. Well, there are, but it's like there's a lot of roadways there. But the United Center is like smack dab. It's over there by Damon and Ashland. A lot of major intersections. There's the CTA runs through that area. There's a lot of buses that go through that area. And so when we look at lockdowns, or either not lockdowns, but eventually the ever growing security area, they're talking about keeping protesters out of sight, out of mind. They removed the homeless shelters there and put the homeless or at least the homeless encampments there. They put the people who lived in those encampments into another homeless shelter, but in turn displacing the other people who were living in that homeless shelter. And when we have like the anti-war groups, you have the anti-war groups, you have the pro-Palestinian groups, you have women who are protesting the right to choose. You have all these activists and community organizers, and they're being pushed out of sight, out of mind. And Kamala Harris is supposed to be this great unifier. Kamala Harris is supposed to be this great teacher. All what I'm being taught here, all what all of us are being taught here, is that if you are going to make the Democrats look bad, they're going to make sure you are out of the way. This reminds me, my grandpa, may rest in peace. He talked about how, what's it? No, it was in the Century of Progress, but the World's Fair came here to Chicago, and they made Chicago look pretty. But behind that pretty wallpaper, the pretty paint job, underneath it all was absolute rot. So like how you when somebody tries to make a house or an office look clean, but if you really inspect it further enough, you're going to find a lot of health hazards and other disgusting things like, hey, is that a dead rat underneath that rug? No, that's just a bump.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, just disregard that. So you talk about how we're being led by idiots. So can you elaborate a little bit more about this overall need to push Kamala Harris? Because I've been seeing it, and she has yet to do a press conference with journalists. She has yet to really do a full-on set interview. And dare I say it, we don't know if there's going to be a potential debate between her and Trump yet.
Yeah, no, and again, all theater. None of this matters. What really matters is the appointment. Okay, the fact that they have now literally taken all of this out of the voters' hands completely, and now they're just like, we got this. You picked Joe Biden. You're dumb. That's who we spoon-fed you. We didn't give you any other choice. We made you choose, quote unquote, Joe Biden by saying that there wasn't going to be a primary, by kicking other potential candidates off the ballot, by canceling, by not really having debates. And then when they did, it was they didn't really promote them or schedule them. I mean, it was terrible the way that they handled this. They did not want anybody but their anointed choice. And then now what's really interesting to me is that even 2 years ago, Jesse Jett was writing about Kamala you better get ready for Kamala 2024. We knew, all of us knew that there was no way Joe was going to be able to really run for a second term. This was all going to be a smoke show. They then held any other potential candidates off of a primary ballot, mostly because they did not want an open primary. They wanted to keep this administration, and they wanted either Kamala to take over the ship, I guess. But what they don't want, and this is the thing that I've noticed, is they don't want an open primary than open convention. More than anything, they want what is the appearance of a pageant that is scripted and that everybody knows what's going to happen before, during, and after. And it's basically just a show. All right. If you have an open convention, nobody knows what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So they want to lock down their candidate. They want to know who's going in. They want to know who's speaking when. They want to know exactly what those people are going to say. And they want to get the fuck out of there. All right.
Right.
That's what they want.
So what I've been seeing, and I tried like hell to get the legitimate press pass to be inside. Because look, here's the thing. Shout out to Daniel. We were able to get, our modern press passes for the city of Chicago. So we and because let's face it, we have a show on Can TV as well. Very, very successful show on Can TV. Much love to Can TV there. But we tried getting inside, and we were denied access. I think Jimmy Dore is probably the only one of us that can actually get in, that actually has a way to get inside the DNC convention, which I find that to be a miracle because, knowing the Democrats and the squad members, when they see Jimmy Dore, they're probably going to get triggered. But nonetheless, when we were trying to reach out to other people in media, a lot of people can't get inside unless they are associated like with the mainstream. But even other quote unquote mainstream local Chicago media outlets, some have actually struggled to even get and secure a press pass, and I find that to be very questionable. And it tells me that the Democrats want to have the narrative controlled in their favor.
Yeah, they do, and they certainly want the narrative controlled in their favor. They have the corporate media to manipulate the narrative on top of it, and then they've got their, it's really funny. Shout out to our friend Tara Reid, INM member. She was just talking about how the cam kid, the troll bots came out like hardcore the minute that they were back. The minute that Kamala was back, all of a sudden the troll farm started activating, and she started getting trolled out of nowhere, like super heavily. It was weird. No, not weird. It was exactly what we were expecting. It was coordinated. It's artificial, and it's a lot of bots. I mean, but what's hilarious again is how they're now trying to voter shame you into choosing and voting for their candidate that nobody chose. All right. But she's the one standing between Trump and democracy.
Well, speaking of democracy, I mean, a lot of things need to be called out about Kamala because there is a massive scrubbing of Kamala Harris's previous work. Because I went to check it out, and Nico House, I had him on the show yesterday afternoon, and I was at first wondering, okay, like how bad is it? But if you really look at just a lot of the negative articles about Kamala, you really got to look for it, or either that some of them just been Thanos out of existence. But I want to pull up something here that maybe should spark everyone's brain cells about, well, wait a minute, hold on. Who is Kamala?
Last year, Harris was the target of reports by the National Journal and Orange County Register, which documented what they called her lavish spending from her campaign fund accounts on luxurious hotels, luxury car services, and first-class airfare. The Hill, an online government news site, quoted former aides as saying she treats the campaign fund like a personal checking account to fund a life of luxury. Should it raise questions in the public mind about, if you're a senator, how you would look at money spending, which is always an issue in Washington?
There were issues that we needed to address early in my campaign around correcting course, which we did, and I'm very proud of the work we did in that regard.
That doesn't answer the question, lady.
So this was your campaign manager, I believe, who was replaced, right?
There was a lot of restructuring that we did, and it needed to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So problem
restructuring.
Wow, restructuring. Problem solved. Where'd the money go? Oh, I don't know. Hey, audience, can you find the money? Type 1 for Kit. They did restructuring. Everything's fine. Type 2. Man, that money went for her to look cat fancy. That's where that money went. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat, Indy. Do you think there's going to be a lot of 2s? I don't know.
Democracy in the chat, dude. We've got to do it. Yes, I have a feeling there might be a few 2s. So it's just kind of funny. Again, she was firing staffers then. Apparently, things have not changed quite a bit. I included here a link to a Boston Times article that documented that after 2020, the first year, Kamala had a 92% turnover rate in her office. Literally, everybody quit, and they trashed her on their way out.
Oh,
it was bad.
I mean, that's also been seen with her time as being VP. She had 47 staffers. Out of that 47, only 4 remain. So that means 43 people just got up, grabbed a bag, and walked the hell out of the vice president's office. So that means 47 staff. So out of 47 staffers, 4 remained. 4.
Yep.
And, even Simone Sanders, we love her, right? Even she left. She left. And that's the same Simone Sanders in 2020 that was doing mental. I'm really impressed with the mental gymnastics she was doing to deflect all the criticisms towards Joe Biden. That was just incredible stuff. And now she's got a nice cushy job at BSDNC. Is that all you got to do is just be really good at covering for a senile old goat. And then, hey, the world is yours.
Well, now, and she gets to trash Kamala on the networks, too, if they decide that they want to put her on. But I even heard her saying, like, I worked for this woman. Maybe you should listen to me. But nobody's going to listen to her. They've got their narrative. They've got their marching orders. They've got their talking points. This is who they want. Now, why? All right. Now, how they did this is weird as shit. All right. The fact that Joe Biden doesn't come out on stage or doesn't come out at all physically. We don't really even know what's going on with Joe right now. That may be something you talk about later. But yeah, I got scratchies. But yeah, Joe Biden did not come out. It was like a weird Zoom call thing that she like held a phone up to a microphone in order to have him speak. Was that a hostage video? Was he like, I don't even know if was it him? Was it AI? I don't know. But,
well, I could see a situation happening to where, all right, Kamala, this is Barack Obama. You got our endorsement. Please tell this sharpshooter to take me off his scope so I don't end up with an ear injury like Trump. That's what you got to do. You got our support. Obama out.
I mean, it's really amazing. So he didn't come out and endorse her in his resignation letter. He then doesn't come out on stage and endorse her. So has he even appeared on stage with her to like kind of pass the torch, as you should say, as some would say? Now, there's a whole other thing about, was there a financial effort by a group called Pass the Torch to try to implement some kind of a color revolution and have Kamala installed as the new leader and have Joe thrown into the basement, not just as the candidate, but using the 25th Amendment to remove him from office right now? That's led by a whole group of who knows who. There's a guy named Casey Wright at 503i7 on Twitter. He put out a whole thread about this. It was really interesting. He had a Mike Benz interview and a couple other things that talked about like how they did Maidan in 2014 and how they got rid of Poroshenko and replaced him with Zelensky. That they kind of used that formula in 2020 to install Joe Biden, quote unquote, is what their claiming is. And that's now what they're doing to try to get Kamala as both the nominee and maybe even, I can't even say as president, because I don't see any way. And this is the other thing that we'll get to afterwards. But my weird thing is the Zoom call, the fact that Joe's hiding in the basement. Where is this guy? Like, this is not how you try to appeal to your base and say, yes, this is the person that really I feel and I'm comfortable with to hand the reins to. Well, we all know that that's just not the case. So, but they have to make the show, don't they? I've never seen where they never at least made the show.
Well, I think the pandemic was able to really get people to not think critically. The pandemic was a way in which Joe Biden can campaign from his basement. And I'm willing to bet that the Democrats think they could pull this off with Kamala as well. I think they could, as long as they keep her out of sight, out of mind, because, when you do hear Kamala talk, when you do listen to her, she's just as incoherent as Biden. But no one has bothered to tell her, like, hey, what you say doesn't make any sense. And again, it's a rather fascinating case study about Democrats and their voting base and the collective, I guess, reality that they've built themselves. And that is they could do no wrong. They can do no wrong. And any criticism towards them is either bigoted, sexist, racist, or anything else in that nature. So if you were to be critical of that, then that means you are a bad person. You could say that they're on a low effort strategy right now because you have Donald Trump, and it's easy to make people lose their ability to think critically when it comes down to somebody like Trump, because Trump just triggers people. He makes them upset. I don't know. That's what I see happening. But then again, too, who in their right mind would right now want to take the position of being the Democratic nominee when it's very well clear that, yes, while Trump has his problems, it is a little bit of a political self-deletion if you want to face off against him due to the fact that he was able to survive that encounter in Butler, Pennsylvania. And that was, and again, that should not have happened at all in the first place, failure of the Secret Service. But it is questionable about who would want to take that. And so instead of ruining some of these governors, you just have Kamala in. If she wins, she wins. If she loses, no skin off their back. I don't know, no skin off their nose.
Well, and that is the other part of this is, we all know how cringe and embarrassing this woman has been for years. Like, she is the consummate fail upward person, I guess. But are we really going to fail her upward to the most important, one of the most visible jobs in the world? I wouldn't say the most important job in the country because the president's a figurehead, but they are the commander in chief of the entire fucking U.S. military. Come on, guys. You know, that's important. That still is important. You can still command troops without congressional approval to do all kinds of stuff. I don't necessarily want her in charge of doing that. Not that I think Joe's any better. I don't. Like I said, it's all a uniparty. It's all the same. They are all the same person because they all represent the donors, and it's BlackRock and it's Vanguard. Okay. And it's State Street and all of the big money donors, you know, the 100 billionaires. Remember that more billionaires donated to Joe Biden than donated to Trump in 2020. Now, a lot of those billionaires have actually started to shift their money toward Trump because they're so angry with what the Biden administration has done the last 4 years that they're actually pining for Trump. These assholes have made people pine for as bad as things were under Trump. And you know what? Maybe they weren't so bad compared to how they are now. We weren't staring down World War III on a daily basis. We weren't funding and enabling a genocide. We didn't fund a proxy war. Tried to, again, far from anti-war, not a Trump guy, not voting for Trump. I am anti-duopoly. I am against all of these parties, and I'm against all of the candidates. And I love all the people that are going to vote for Jill Stein. God bless you. If you're going to vote for Cornel West, I don't understand why, but maybe same thing with Booby Kennedy. If you're still on Team Booby, why? Okay. And even Claudia De La Cruz, who I actually have a lot of respect for. I like what she's got to say, but we know that, you know, she's like 5th or 6th on the list. And, you know, for our libertarian friends, I'll even throw out Chase Oliver's name, even though we know it's weird that nobody was talking about him until the actual convention happened and he emerged the candidate. And I think that's what the Democrats want to avoid. Mm-hmm. They want to avoid a no-name coming out of the convention and then trying to take on Trump because he'll just steamroll them.
Right.
And this is part of what my contention is here. All right. And look, we all know that Kamala's a cop, but how is it that there was not one ex-governor or current governor who wanted the job that stood up and said, you're going to actually put her as the leader of the party in the country, at least try to?
Well, we know obviously that the DNC has the ability to pick who they want as their nominee. This is nothing new to anybody that has been following Hardland's media or any independent media network. But what I find fascinating is that what probably went down is, you know, a lot of people got the memo that it's going to be Joe Biden, and maybe the Democratic establishment, the DNC, was just hoping and praying that just in case Biden wouldn't be too bad. But since he embarrassed himself, and they probably told Kamala, like, hey, sooner or later, just be at the ready. We're going to have you be the nominee. Sometimes the solution is just very simple, and that is no one got the memo. That's why no one really challenged Joe Biden, except for those that were just really irrelevant, like, you know, Marianne Williamson or Dean Phillips or Fat Tony or even RFK Jr., you know, at the time. You have all these people out there who are, who were vying for it, but they weren't anyone of real significance in the Democratic Party. That's why we had such a lackluster primary, because it was a list of no names. And as soon as Biden secured the nomination and he embarrassed himself on stage with Trump, you then have Kamala as the backup. So it's not that she's a no name. It's just this was all probably preordained, and it was all like, and now we're seeing this. But even then, Democrats, As soon as the more Kamala speaks, the more people are going to be turned off. People are saying that Trump gave Kamala a boost in Chicago. No, I'm 50-50 on it. I think Trump could have handled it a lot better here in Chicago. But in regards to boosting Kamala, Trump said nothing new. That's just who he is. And it wasn't this big epic meltdown. No, people are going to forget about what happened here in Chicago. People will laugh at it, but it wasn't the end to Kamala Harris. But the thing is, I want to pull up this video here, and this is hey, we got Care Bear. And Nico House talking about how Kamala's identity is being used.
People don't really understand when we're talking about Kamala. Is we have a problem with the fact that she pretends to have lived a Black experience that she's never lived.
Look, I'm just speaking for her. If she wants to identify whatever, like you have a biracial father, Jamaican father. The problem is, though, being Black is not just the melanin or the drop.
Yeah, when you're running for president, running for Senate, or using it in some way, form, or fashion to market yourself, we all know that there's being, I'm Black. Hey, guys. Right.
Yeah, and again, shout out to Nico House. He's doing some good stuff, doing a lot of good stuff there. But for me, it's rather disappointing to see where people have lost their ability to think critically, or either that look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this: we are being screwed, we are being tricked into, or either that a lot of liberals, because again, I get text messages from some of my college friends and a few other people saying, "Isn't it great that Kamala Harris is the nominee? Don't you think this is great?" And I'm like, no, I don't think this is great. I think this is an absolute embarrassment. This whole country is being played. We're being played right now, and you're jumping on board for somebody that doesn't even really exist. I mean, the whole idea of Kamala Harris being the savior, I've seen this manufactured Hollywood story told before with Barack Obama, but we've seen this also on TV and movies where you have this politician president, be it the first woman or black man. I mean, before Obama got into power, there was this whole idea of, okay, you got this person and they're the chosen one, they're the golden one, they're the best there is and best there ever will be. They are beyond perfect. They are truly perfect, and that's non-existent. There's no such thing as a heroic politician. All these politicians are in it to enrich themselves. Case in point, you got Kamala Harris, you have Nancy Pelosi, you have Chucky Boy Schumer, you have Turtle Boy Mitch McConnell, you have all these individuals who are just enriching themselves. They only care about making more money, and guess what? Kamala Harris is just like any other politician, making more money.
I mean, by the way, that Colin and Nico podcast was a 4-hour-long live stream. It was a marathon. They covered so many different topics. That was last Thursday. It was so good. I encourage everybody to go watch that full live stream if you get a chance, or listen to it on podcast. Colin has I love Colin. He's one of my best friends, and he's got such a different perspective as an educator, as a Black immigrant on all of this. And I love hearing his takes and having that perspective, and I appreciate him so much, really. And the other thing is, and you mentioned it, that nobody challenged Kamala. And but before we do that, Kamala also didn't go to school in the United States like most of her life. She was schooled in Canada. I didn't even know that.
They don't even talk about her dad. They don't even talk about her father. Her father has done a lot of work with communist groups, and her father is also an intellectual, and also disowned her, especially after the 2020 or during the 2020 primaries, because he just couldn't tolerate her lying anymore about her past. And it is rather funny, especially if you look back at that 2020 letter, because in 2020, CNN also did a piece on Kamala Harris. They don't mention anything about her being Black. They only just mentioned about her Indian heritage, and that's it. And I played that on yesterday's show. So if anyone hasn't seen it,
was that the one with Mindy Kaling? She has like a whole thing. I just saw like something. It's very funny. Yeah, there's that too. Mindy Kaling from The Office also had Kamala on like her podcast or cooking show or whatever, and Mindy says, "Hey, you're Indian," and Kamala laughs like, "Ha ha, yes, ha ha." And she goes, "You look like half my family." Holy shit, it's so funny. All right, so here's my other thing: are the Democrats just really finally, look, we heard a couple weeks ago that the morale of the White House was terrible and they basically had given up on on 2024. Is this their way of throwing in the towel and throwing her to the wolves? They know they don't have anyone to beat Trump. They know that they're going to throw her out there as a sacrificial lamb, and she'll take it because she's opportunistic and thinks that they're really giving this to her. But what they're really doing is trying to get rid of her for all eternity, because there's no way that come November, if she loses to Trump, she's ever coming back anywhere on a public stage in any kind of capacity. Am I crazy?
Hold on, my friend. First of all, I got something that I could share with you, because I do agree that the Democrats are probably throwing her to the wolves. So first of all, I just want you to filibuster real quick, because I just want to just mention something. So hold on. I'm going to step off stage. So filibuster about why you're still angry. I shall return.
Why am I still angry? Oh, my goodness. Well, again, we have an anointed candidate, folks. What's going on here? And we are being vote shamed, especially those of us who are on Twitter. It's a comedy right now. What's going on Twitter? How that there are an army of people that are starting to accuse you. Again, you're either a Russian bot or you're a Trumper. If you are not on board with the anointed candidate, you must be a racist, Nazi, white supremacist Trumper. If you don't support the first black woman president, it's her turn. Well, it's her turn.
So here's the thing. I want to pull up this. There's this coin I got. I went to a convention earlier this year in the summer, and it's a coin that says, "Hey, whatever you do, if you do only one thing, execute it well." Right? If you do one thing, execute it well, and that is the Democratic establishment is looking at its options. If Kamala wins, okay, great. But they've already accepted their loss. They realize that Kamala is a failed and flawed candidate. I mean, come on, Democrats. You're not that. Listen, I know you guys are dumb, but you're not that dumb. So they see it. So the choice is, okay, maybe Kamala can actually pull this off if nobody decides to look in deep into her history. Plus, she's getting most of her embarrassing moments scrubbed off the internet. Now, knowing the internet, there's going to be some very diehard individuals that could probably maybe find some deleted articles or do whatever with the Wayback Machine, but I'm pretty sure they'll be able to figure it out. But no matter what happens, the Democrats will still win, even if Trump gets into office. And you want to know why? It's going to be called fundraising. So no matter what happens, money will still flow. And speaking of money, look, we're going to do an experiment, my friend. And I invite you on this journey. In fact, I invite all of you on this journey. I took Nico House on this journey, and it has to deal with Kamala Harris and her campaign website, because we're going to do like another daily update. Are you prepared, my friend? Are you prepared?
All right.
Who knows? Maybe this time we'll get some breaking news.
Is today the day that there's a policy? Look, I don't care about a website. Honestly, like, this has actually become a talking point that all they want to do is raise money. Like, yeah, we knew this, and we know that she has no policies, and we know that she is completely vapid. And it's just literally, yeah, that is exactly what she is and who she is right there.
And
frequently asked questions. She's an FAQ.
It's all about money, nothing about policy. All about the dollars. Where is it at? But hey, Indy, you know something? I don't like your tone. I really don't, because look at this. You got all this great merch. Look at this. You got a onesie.
Oh, they got lawn signs now.
Lawn signs. That's great. Look at this. You got a onesie. You got a hat. You got a tote bag. You got the Madam President mug. You got the Kamala.
We'll have to replace our mug. Love lives here. Our love lives here, and the shout out to our here, those lawn signs that all the shit libs keep on their lawn that tell you just the houses to avoid.
How dare you?
Oh, come on.
You don't want to have a Kamala pride flag mug? You don't want to have a bisexual flag mug? Do you not want a Kamala trans pride flag sticker? What's wrong with you, Indy?
Dude, I've already got 2 on my laptop.
Look at all this. This is
thanks, Bernie.
Hey, Bernie. By the way, Indy, I got to ask you a question. Because I know we're running a little bit out of time here. But are you getting text messages from Democrats saying you got to support Kamala?
I got one from Cenk fucking Uger yesterday. Oh my god!
Whoa! What did Cenk do? What did he ask? What did he say?
Oh no, it was he was begging for Cam. And I didn't delete it because I could not believe what I saw. Hi, it's Cenk Uger.
Okay.
I'm writing to you personally because we only have a few hours left to reach our fundraising goal. Oh, this is a TYT fundraising goal that the assholes had to text me. But of course, we know who they're supporting. Didn't this guy? I don't watch their show anymore, and I encourage everybody to unplug from all of these content creators that we followed in 2020 that led us down the Bernie path, that steered us wrong, that steered us back toward the electoral nonsense politics that led us to $200 billion to Ukraine and no Medicare for all and funding a genocide in Israel.
Look who sent this to me. Why the actual F am I getting emails from Cenk effing Uger, who has me blocked, begging for money for TYT, which I haven't watched since 2016. God, who doesn't love Misty? I at this point, Misty, we love you. Are you still up? No, I'm not. I'm writing you from my iPhone. Are you really? Because
from Cenk's iPhone. Didn't we do this like 3 years ago and Jimmy tore this apart?
Yeah, so hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. This is funny. This is breaking news. You know what? If we're doing this, hang on. If we're doing this right, well, we still have I need everyone to be quiet and listen to me. This is breaking news. Are you still up? I'm writing to you from my iPhone cell phone, because we only have 3 hours left. No, to reach our fundraising goals, and we're still a little short. Should have invested that $20 million from Katzenberg a little bit more wisely instead of on donuts. I'm getting nervous. Oh boy, if we don't get the surge of donations we were expecting today in the next few hours, we won't hit our goal and we could miss the DNC. That's bull. If Matt Weinglass can come here, if Craig Jardula Pasta can come here, if Russell from Dude Dissidents can come here, if Nick from RBN can come here, and that's right, if me and Daniel, and we do live in the city, and it is a little pricey living in the city, we could pull this off. That's inexcusable, TYT. Don't you give me that bull. July has been such an emotional roller coaster for so many of us. It's been an entertaining roller coaster for me. So it's more important than ever that we keep our eyes on the prize. You better believe the other side.
Make sure we pay. Make sure we pay for the propagandists to go and propagandize everyone for the Democrats. Are you out of your mind, bro? You need to go to the Democrats and beg them for money because you're literally in the tank for them. What are you doing?
Look at this.
Wow.
Can you donate 10? Hey, that's an Alexander Hamilton or more right now to help us close the gap. Remember, all donations between now and midnight are matched dollar for dollar. Let's finish strong.
By whom? By Jeffrey Katzenberg?
Yeah, why don't you get that Katzenberg cash, baby? Get that.
Who's matching the dollar for dollar? Wow. This is all bullshit. All right. What these guys, and he's on an Act Blue mailing list. All right. He's sending it to this. He got it from Bernie. He's got, thanks Bernie for giving out our emails and our cell phone numbers 4 years ago. We are still getting inundated with these emails and texts. It's disgraceful. And again, they passed the thing at the FTC about this. We should be suing all these people and they should be paying us tens of thousands of dollars. But they control the courts. They control everything. And they're not going to, hold themselves accountable ever.
It's a joke, my friend. It is one big old joke, and I just can't help but laugh. But I do want to pull up this final statement here. This is something that you wrote in your article. I think it's only fair. So first and foremost, number one, and by the way, I do want to say to you, Jesse Jett came it through strong for me on my project that I had him do. I have to now do the editing, but I think Dr. Nick and Miss Witchy Perfect, and I think Hob and Mastermind were one of the few people on the patron show to actually listen to that custom music. And yes, folks, I'm in the I'm doing. Listen, a lot of stuff is coming my way. I need a minute. A minute, but here, hold on. Let's finish this stuff up here. The sad reality is there are not many, and certainly not enough, impartial, neutral journalists and independent outlets left to actually ask the hard questions from a nonpartisan perspective in 2024. I'm talking about reporters who are universally trusted, that half the country doesn't immediately dismiss for being partisan. Everything today is intentionally lost in a bipartisan sauce of accusing those with legitimate challenges of being in bad faith, as if that matters, especially if the question doesn't have simple remedies or responses. Just remember, kids, nothing is going to fundamentally change, no matter who wins in November, no matter who the candidates are, in spite of whatever fear-mongering the corporate networks will scream. That's from Indy from INN News, man. Jeez, dude. It just, the hits just
IndieMediaToday.com.
Please, everyone, if you're not following Indie News, check them out. And look, they are wrongly being hit. Listen, I want you to keep me in the loop about what's going on with you guys, because Indy, you know, I said this to Nick, I said this to Nico, I said this to Russell and Keaton, and yes, we even spoke to Jimmy as well. You know, what you guys did for us and how you stood for us in December, January, and a little bit of February, you know, it really meant a lot to me and Daniel. And what's happening to you, I find appalling, and I remember who my friends are. So by standing in solidarity with us, you already got our support. And no, even if you guys create a new channel, let me know so I can give you guys that boost. Let me know so that way you guys are taken care of. So for our viewing audience, is there going to be an Indie News live stream happening? What's happening down the road for INN? And is and also, are some of your crew members, will some of them possibly maybe make it to the DNC convention? And if so, tell them to reach out to me so I could take them and get some good Chicago style food and educate their palates.
Yeah, there is quite a bit happening at INN. Just about every day now, we have live streams on the network, which is amazing. Just tonight, we got Angel Rivera, who's been on the show, Angel in the Afternoon. He's at 7 o'clock on, it's again, youtube.com/Indie News Network. We're on Rumble. On Rockfin, our INN channel has some kind of an error message, but I have my own Rockfin channel, rockfin.com/IND Left News. We've been putting all of the INN content over there while we're waiting for Rockfin to fix it. We're on kick.com/Indie News Network, INDIE News.network. You can find all the channels, all the links to the shows, the podcast. 10:30 tonight. You know, I edit every Friday night. I've been taking Jesse Jett's show, American Tradition, which I host every other Tuesday night, and I edit down some of the best ofs, and I take two. This week I took 2 clips from 11 different shows, or 12 different shows, and put them together, and we've got an hour and a half show starting at 10:30 Eastern tonight, and it's just straight music and spoken word, and it's just, you can kind of see the progression show to show almost of the growth and the quality of how we're doing the show. And it's great performances. I mean, Jesse's just incredible. And again, we're going to have 24 pieces tonight, starting at 10:30 Eastern.
I 100% agree with that. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for being on our show. Jesse Jett, send him my love. And again, you know, I actually want to just say what Jesse Jett did for me and Daniel was just absolute pure gold. So there we go. And I think that's a great way to end this segment. But folks, we got a super show today. We're not just going to be a 2-hour show. This is going to be like a 3-hour power show. So, folks, stay tuned. Hit that like button. And to our Can TV audience, check us out on YouTube, Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, and Kick. Indy, as always, keep kicking ass and taking names, my friend.
Take it easy, fam. Thanks for the invite. Really appreciate the support always from Hardlands. Good. Take care of each other, everyone. Love you all.
No problem. Glad to give you a voice and glad to give you a platform so that you can keep speaking truth to power. And Al Jazeera, please look. This is an accident. Maybe you could kind of, sort of, maybe possibly fix this before the weekend ends. How does that sound? That'd be a sight to see.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? you safe? Were you safe? I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe?
Fresh off the masses, the brand new cancerous growth, who has come here to vie for your vote. Come here to cry at the camps and to mourn at the shore for the bodies that float by the wreck of an immigrant boat. Then it's back to their luxury home, couple security booths and a moat. Couple cigars, little escargot, little booze and a soak. Just breathe in the steam and the smoke. Pink salt, lavender, candles are low. Shit, when you do what you do, gotta lighten the load. And he got a life of his own that's a sight to behold. And it's a lot to control, to decipher the code, or to siphon the soul. The cost of a good night's sleep for the working elite is a bargain, no matter the toll. Worth any wager, and that comes straight from the mouth of the means to the goal that will swallow us whole. Ripe for the picking if you don't mind mold, and you know I don't. Maybe we're pleasantly prone, maybe we're taking a licking, compliantly ticking and ticking and ticking, but never explode. No, I don't deliver the prettiest image, but damn if it isn't an accurate vision of natural fission, of rage at the system and abject heartbreak, patiently waiting for any who will listen. That little blue bird who was watching your words is a federal carrier pigeon, a Langley first. It's a patient observer who hears what it wants and is trained for the worst. Oh, you got nothing to hide. They'll be the ones to decide that after they root through your purse, after they read all your text, after they raid your apartment, confiscate all of its contents, then conjure up evidence out of the air on a wing and a prayer and malicious intelligence nonsense. Any presumption of innocence long since gone, right along with your comforts and constants. Historically first they will come from the communists. So why in the fuck would I say I'm a communist? Well, it might be I love my community more than the monsters of opulence who are holding us hostage, who are vomiting promises. Might be I'm all done seeing our pensions and benefits harvested. Might be I'm all done watching the populace being disarmed in the guise of an armistice. Watching a woman collapse on the floor who will rise no more. She's wheeled out the door and you're next in line for the pharmacist. If you can get me to vote, it's a hard no confidence. But part of the charm of deception is politics wearing the mask of incompetence. It's all in the art of austerity, darling. It's all in the slide of the providence. Until home is as wide as your cubicle height and is only as deep as your coffin is. Maybe I'm miles away from impatience, aching to break off the head of the snake where the capital lust, reptile brain, and the margin of profit is. Like off with his. Like off with his.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe?